Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it's time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J. Stan McCauley, along with the champions of talk. This morning's talk champion, none other than the one and only Cleo Duke-Wright. Good morning, Miss Cleo. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today, Stan. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How was you? You had a good week this week?
Yeah, I had a good week. I escaped a little bit for a few hours, and I was studying the parable of the sower, which got very interesting, and I just kept doing it. And I couldn't stop. I said, "Oh my God, all of this, you know." So I had a lot of fun with that this morning, this week, and my husband and I went out to lunch. So he's been out several times this week, and he was happy, and I spent some quality time with him, and so the week went by very nicely.
Well, that's good.
So it was a positive effort, My granddaughter came over, and so it was good.
It was good to see him last week. It seems like a long time ago. But it was last Saturday?
It was last Saturday. We stayed all over weekend. We went out on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We were just out there most of the day, and all of those days. So, yeah.
All right, yeah. Last Saturday, Saturday, our Joe Girl Scout troop had an appreciation banquet for the people that were supporting the Double Dutch team that the Girl Scout troop has. It was a pretty nice event. They did a little
I thought it was
demonstration of the jumpers and all of that. It was pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Well, it is Friday. We got a lot going on today, and we have a couple special guests who can drop by. First one we have here is it's somebody who's well known here in the city of Hartford, attorney Sylvia Reed. And she's telling us about something she's got going on here. Morning, Sylvia. How you doing?
Good morning. I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very good. It's good to see you. What have you been up to over the past couple of weeks and days?
Well, so much has been going on. First, I want to give thanks to God for waking up this morning.
Amen.
That's my first thing I want to do. And thank you for allowing me and to be on this program with you this morning. And it's wonderful to see our sister Cleo. Love, much love to her. So what have we been up to? We've been up to a lot. My plans have been to, for many years, as you know, Pastor Stan and Cleo, that my heart has always been with the people of the city of Hartford, the state of Connecticut. I care very deeply for the people who live here, who work here, and I always have a heart for helping people, and that may be a blessing, or it may be an issue. However, it's in me, and I can't turn away now. So since 2004, we started the Hartford Metropolitan Area Youth Choir. I know I've come on this show before and talked about what we do with the children then. In 2013, we changed the direction of our nonprofit organization, which is called now Gateway to Life Incorporated, and we're incorporated here in Hartford, and we also have an office in Atlanta, Georgia. We focus now on domestic violence prevention. Okay? And so domestic violence prevention has been an issue with me since I was attacked and kidnapped back in that time period. And because I've never experienced that before, being so close to death because at the hands of someone else. And so since I've never been in that situation before, and then listening to other women and men, especially as an attorney who have been through domestic violence situations, I understand it better than most. I understand it more than you know. And so Gateway to Life, since that time, has focused on developing what we call a safe house or an underground railroad for women. However, after that situation occurred to me, I realized that there was nothing wrong with me. I didn't attack anybody, and like I said, my heart has always been to help people, and because I am in a place of I guess I'm an attorney, and I'm also a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and people tend to envy me for some reason. I have no idea, because I don't have a reason for anyone to envy me, but it's been a rough road because, I guess expectations are higher than it should be for me. But since that time, I've now focused on men and the issues that men need help with domestic violence. There are a lot of programs for women when it comes to domestic violence, but there's nothing really out there to help men who either are victims of domestic violence. And so I started talking to my board members that we need to help our brothers out here who are having problems. And the root of the issue is not really being addressed. Yes, the women can run away or, and they can find a safe house, they can find some place to go if they are being attacked or being harmed. But the men have no place to go when they are asked to leave the house by police. They have no money, they have no resources, so they go out and get in more trouble. And that's what I put together, is a safe house for men that provides spiritual counseling, marital, family counseling. And we offer that counseling now, even though the safe house is not fully up and running yet, we still offer the counseling. The counseling is available. It is a cost of $50 for the counseling. Mm-hmm. But we provide it because, and you have to charge something because, it takes money to do everything. There's nothing is for free. Mm-hmm. But we're there for you until we can get some federal dollars or some state dollars or some other kind of funding to provide this type of service to help our brothers who need an advocate, who needs someone even to go to court on their behalf to say, well, I did not do this. And most times the men are the ones that are going to jail. That's it. That's the resolution. You go to jail, and or you may do some community service, or you may do some kind of program, anger management they may offer. But then the issue really becomes that you still are hurting. You haven't really addressed the issue as to why either you're battered or you're being battered. So those are the two issues under domestic violence that we address. And then we also deal with elder abuse, which is a whole nother category, and bullying. That's a whole nother category. So the safe house that we're trying to build and trying to raise money for will take in men who are dealing with these issues of domestic violence, elder abuse, or bullying. So we're trying to finish it up, and we're trying to get at least as much money as we can to get it done. We're very close. We just need to get the plumbing done and electrical, and it's a done deal. It's ready to go. So we just so that's what I've been working on. And so we're having some fundraisers to do that. We're bringing attention to the issue. And the fundraisers we're having now that we've established what we're doing and why we're doing it is Saturday, November 12th. And it's going to be at Vibes Uptown, 3155 Main Street in Hartford. And we are having a domestic violence prevention conference called Sneakers and Stilettos Self-Protection Conference. So that's pretty much what we've been up to. And right after the domestic violence conference is a men's fashion show. So we got some wonderful, wonderful things getting ready to pop off in the city of Hartford. Saturday, November 12th, as I stated, is going to be at Vibes. The domestic violence conference will feature special guest speakers. We also have a man by the name of Rahman Salam. And Rahman Salam is a self-defense master. He is a teacher. And what he does is that he not only teaches people how to protect themselves from dangers, like if someone tries to attack you with a knife or someone tries to attack you at all, he teaches self-defense moves, but he also teaches police officers how to protect themselves. He is well versed in what he does, and he's coming with a good attitude. He's a wonderful man. I talked to him on the phone. I haven't physically met him, but we had a very long conversation. So I'm really looking forward to him coming and getting us up and showing us what we can do for ourselves, to protect ourselves from potential dangers, even from shooters that we're dealing with now. Every time you go somewhere, there's some kind of shooting in a school or shooting in a public place. So he's going to also help us with those kind of issues and dealing with that and how to protect yourself. So Rahman is coming, and that's great. So also at the domestic violence conference, we will split up into two parts. Men and women will be on one side. Men will be on one side. Women will be on the other side, and they're going to be asked the same questions. Then we come together and try to answer the same questions and see what we came up with. And believe it or not, that is the most fun part of the whole conference. When the men and women come together and really go over and talk about different issues that affect them in life. Could be communication, it could be, family, it could be a lot of things that we talk about. And it's a great dialogue between men and women and coming together to find out how we can come up with a solution to domestic altercations, misunderstandings, whatever the issues are. So that is the conference.
So the conferences you've got coming up now, I was going to say clearly there's been an increase in domestic violence, but I can't really just say that. We hear about more domestic violence now than it seems we have in the past. What would you contribute, this increase to?
Well, there's the pandemic has allowed a lot of people to stay indoors a lot longer than they had in the previous years. And they either got to know each other better and find out a lot more about the other party, and maybe they just are having cabin fever. We don't, that's why we have this conference. We're trying to address the issues that men and women have and the differing aspects between them. Mm-hmm. We're also dealing with the LGBT community at this conference, because they too have and need a voice to deal with intimate partner violence. And that's what this is really about when it comes to domestic violence, is really intimate partner violence, family, father, son, brother, sister. Those are all part of domestic violence. It's not just, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife. Those domestic, because domestic just means, family, kind of close quarter violence.
I'm just when men go through the domestic violence, and maybe more men are coming out and saying that they're going through domestic violence, because that's not an easy thing for a man to say. And so I think maybe more of them are coming out saying, it's domestic violence, because if it's a domestic violence on a man, a woman can turn that around so very easily and make it look like a man is the one who is violent instead of the woman that's violent. So a man has a sort of a lot to attend to, a lot to deal with when it comes to domestic violence. Because if he hits back, if he gets angry and hits back at the other party, then he goes to jail. When they go to court, it's so very easily for it to turn around to look like it's the male. So I don't know how you get these men together who are really suffering and not really admitting, because it's unmanly sometimes in a man's mind, to to be in that situation, because we usually think that women are in that situation, but a lot of men are in that same situation.
I've had clients, Miss Cleo, who have come to me, and I've represented clients in court that said, Miss Reed, I did not hit her. She actually hurt herself and blamed me that I did it. At first I couldn't believe that. Like in the first couple of cases I didn't believe that they would actually stab themselves or scratch themselves or make themselves bleed and then blame it on the man. I couldn't believe that at first. I said, why would she do that? Or why? Because the anger or whatever's going on with the woman goes so deep that she, and that's where we have the issue of spiritual counseling. So the hurt, the damage that they have been through, either as a child or later in life, a lot of them have been abused themselves. And so hurt people hurt people. You've heard that before. Mm-hmm. When you're hurting, you want to hurt somebody else. When you're hurting, you want other people to hurt or feel that same pain. Also, men lack, a lot of men, I'm not going to say all men because everybody cannot be grouped into any category, but a lot of men lack the ability to, how can I say, address their pain. They don't know how to deal with it. So they lash out. They feel hurt and they feel like they've been betrayed. And so a lot of men get angry. I mean, physically angry because they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know where to put that anger. They don't know where to deal with that. So my goal is when we do the house, we will have an area for boxing where you can just punch the punching bag. Don't punch the person, punch the punching bag. And there's not a lot of places where men can go to let that anger out, and actually have someone around them that can understand them and empathize with them to, let it go, somehow let it go. But they're hurting so bad. A lot of men have done so much for the woman, and the woman takes advantage of it to the point where they can't take it anymore. So if they're at that place, how do they get help? Where do they go? And so there's that gap in services, there's that gap in the community, and we are hoping that we as Gateway to Life Incorporated can fill that gap for men, mostly, and not saying women not, but mostly men can come and get some services and help to address this banging, hurting feeling, that emotions that just it drives. So that's why we want to exist, to deal with that gap in services, and not only in the city of Hartford. When Atlanta has the same issues, we went down to New Orleans. New Orleans have the same issue. California has the same issues. We don't have too many resources for our men out here, not in this area at all. So other than go to jail, that's it. And that, and they send them away and they become more angry. So they don't get that deep counseling, that spiritual issue that's really the root of the problem. So, and it's not something that happens in one day either. You can't just, talk to somebody for one day and it goes away. No, could have been years of pain and hurt, and it's gonna take some time. So, we're trying to raise money to get this safe house up and running, and we believe it's necessary. It's not like, I want to do this. I know this. This is what they need. After talking to a lot of my clients, they need help. They need somebody to care about their situation. It's not just the woman. Yes, they're women victims, but they're also men victims. And we're not, blind, nor are there scales on our eyes that we can't see what's really going on. But I think there's scales on the eyes of the funders. They've never really addressed this issue. They just see the women as the victims. But there are men who are being victimized.
And courts also see the women as the victim. They give the woman a big leeway and, just pounce on just pounce on the man. I've just seen that so many times also.
Mm-hmm. And he won't hit back. He won't hit back because he was trained never to hit a woman. No. That's the other thing. You got men who are like, I'm not going to hit her. But then I'm going to jail. All right, I'll just go. I don't have a problem with it. I'll just do it. And then their life gets all twisted and tangled up. And that's not fair. So we're trying to balance the scales a little bit. But I'm not the one that's going to be doing it alone. I have a team of wonderful people who are helping me with the counseling, who are trained. We have addiction counselors on our team. We have nurses on our team. We have other ministers who are helping us. So it's not just Sylvia Reed. I'm here to help as far as coordinating the type of services that the people get, and being the advocate and the spokesperson for Gateway to Life. But it's a lot. And so that's why we're dealing with this November 12th event. And we're having that men's fashion show right after. There's a lot of men, again, fashion show, women. But men, there's some men who, let's be honest, some men need some help on the fashion tip. And so, we're trying to help elevate the thinking, elevate our minds, and elevate the way we are being perceived in public. And I think, it's time for men to have a stronger voice.
All right. So now, how do people get in touch with you, and where do they purchase tickets, or is there a website? How do people get connected to the Gateway?
All right. So it's gatewaytolife.org. Gateway, GATEWAYTOLIFE.org. So just go to our website, www.gatewaytolife.org, and you can buy tickets. You can send messages to us. You can request counseling services. We, as I stated, it is a fee, unfortunately. And once we get the Safe House up and running, I'm excited. Please, I just need the funding. Just send the funds, please. Just send the funds. It'll go to the right place. You will be blessed. I know we'll change this nation. We'll start changing the nation. I know by dealing with the spirituality of a person and finding out why they're doing what they're doing, not just clinical. Oh, give him some Valium or whatever they give out nowadays. It'll just go away. No, you have to deal with, stop medicating our brothers and sisters in the community. That's why the community looks the way it does. We need to stop all that. And then we have our brothers coming out of jail with no place to go. That's a whole nother issue, but we're just dealing with domestic violence, elder abuse, and bullying. So if you have an elder who's being abused in their own home, Miss Cleo, you know exactly what I'm talking about. An elder man will come have some medical issues, but his nephews live there or his nieces live there, and then they're taking advantage of his medication and his money that comes in on a limited basis. He's not eating right. That's elder abuse. So we try to intervene, even though there are senior services out there where you could call the state of Connecticut and file a complaint that a senior is being abused in some way. They're supposed to come out and assist. But again, they also need assistance. So we're dealing with the elder abuse issue as well. Seniors need help. Seniors, especially senior men. Again, the men aspect of this whole concept is what we're dealing with. So we also have How to Tie a Tie youth employment program. So that's where we feel that if we start with our young men early and teach them how to treat women and teach them how to treat themselves, then we can at least start to eliminate some of these issues of domestic violence. So that's what How to Tie a Tie youth employment program, mentoring program is all about. And we're raising monies for that as well. So the monies that come in will go to both programs. But like I said, the Safe House first, because now we'll have a place to address all of these issues. and it's located in Hartford. So you just go to our website, www.gatewaytolife.org. You buy tickets. You can be a vendor. A vendor is $50. The tickets are $20 to $50 VIP for the fashion show, and for the conference, the tickets are only $10. So we wanted to make it affordable because we wanted lots of people to come. We want lots of people to learn. We want lots of people to be aware of what's going on. So, and we have entertainment. We have entertainers come in. We have Nikki Sunshine. She's going to come and do a domestic violence presentation around 4:00 in the afternoon. So the conference starts at 9:30 in the morning at Vibes. So we'll be there all day. It's an all-day conference, and we look forward to people just spending the day with us. It's an all-day conference. Come out, learn, come out. Breakfast and lunch is included with the $10. So you can't beat that. On top of that, the vendors will be there. We have vendors, great vendors already set up. We also have a prayer area. So we have an area for people who just want to come and pray about their situation, pray about getting better, pray about changing their lives. We have ministers and pastors who will be manning our prayer station. And I know that's a little different as well. A lot of conferences don't have areas for prayer unless it's a quote unquote Christian conference or something like that. But we are a faith-based organization. So you come on out and have all your needs met, and God can meet all your needs. So however you look at it, if you say it's Allah, we don't really care what religion you are, to be honest with you. This is not about religion at all.
Providing
it's all
help
about helping the person. It's all about helping people get better. So just because we are faith-based, we just want you to know even if you're an atheist, it's all about getting the help that you need. So just wanted to let you know.
Do you have any? Do you have a flyer or anything that you can?
Yes, I have flyers.
Okay, send me a flyer.
Okay,
so
I have two flyers. I'll send them. One is for obviously the conference.
Yeah, send them both. Send them both, and we'll we'll mention it during the run up to November the 12th. Yeah,
thank you.
Okay.
And I love you, Pastor Stan. I'm so happy that you continue on with this, the TV. I'm grateful to you for the years that you've taught me how to run TV. We still do movies. We still do scripts. We're still writing books. We're now writing another script. If you go to my website as well, some of my movie shorts are on the website. One is called, and it's actually on YouTube. One is called I'm Sick and Tired. That's about the pastor and his wife, domestic violence between the pastor and his wife.
I saw that. That's pretty good. I saw that.
And then we have one that's called Mama Dear, and that's about elder abuse. That's also on our website. You can see some of the shorts that we're doing. I have two other scripts that I've shot for. One is regarding bullying.
Wow.
That's got to get done. And then we have another one that's going to be dealing with date rape. So that one we want to shoot here in Hartford. So that'll probably be coming up in 2023. They only are going to be about 4 or 5 minutes long. So they're not long movies, they're shorts. They just want to get the message across.
All right.
So yeah, we're still in the publishing and editing area, and that's the fun part of me. I love doing that. I love being creative, using my gifts and talents to bring a message for hope, message for love, message for brotherhood and sisterhood. Together we can get along. And we think of that Rodney King, why can't we all just get along? Yeah, why can't we all just get along, for real? We all pretty much bleed the same, but we have to learn to respect one another. And I think there's that lack of respect, or there's selfishness. There's a lot of selfishness that goes on. And there needs to be a lot more selflessness. That's what we need to do. It should be, we are our brother's keeper.
Selflessness and love and some giving, caring, and sharing.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Sylvia Reed, conference coming up November the 12th at Vibes Uptown. It is a domestic violence conference. It's going to be all day from 9 all the way to the afternoon. And once again...
Can I just say one more thing, Pastor Stan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for the men's fashion show, we have a phenomenal promoter. His name is Wayne Winston. Wayne Winston puts on the New York Fashion Week, or he's a strong participant in the New York Fashion Week, the Harlem Fashion Week. He's doing another Fashion Week program this next week up in the Palisades, New York. He is our coordinator and promoter for our fashion show. Wayne Winston is phenomenal. He knows exactly what he's doing. So don't think that Sylvia Reed is doing the fashion show. I don't know anything about it. I just know that I love looking at men look good and women look good. That's something I picked up a lot more when I went and lived in the Atlanta area for a few years. That's where I've been hiding. Women don't play down south. They look good when they go to bed. They look good when they get up. Okay. They gotta have lashes. I mean, it's just wow. And here in the Northeast, we're not that, overtaken by fashion, but down south, our people don't play when it comes to looks. They look good going grocery shopping. So I learned a lot about the mentality of people. And that's why down south, they don't mind speaking to each other. You don't have to know each other to say hi. You just say hi. Up here, you got to know, well, who is that? And,
was a little different atmosphere down south.
It's a total different atmosphere. And I loved it. I loved living down south. But this is my home. Mm-hmm. So I'm bringing hopefully an atmosphere of betterment, better mentality by bringing up whatever I learned down south and trying to look good all the time. And that's what we're trying to do. But Wayne Winston, and we got Savvy. We have, like I said, Nikki Sunshine. We have an artist by the name of Quantum. Beautiful, beautiful people who are going to be performing, and a gospel artist by the name of Carrie Wilson as well will be performing during the men's fashion show, and that starts at 4:00 on Saturday, November 12th. So just come on out and spend the whole day with us. We're going to be there from 9:30 on, and then men's fashion show starts at 4.
So it's a power packed Saturday.
Yes.
So. Phone number people can reach. Is there a phone number people can reach at?
860
860
322
322
6020.
One more time.
322 6020.
All right. So Sylvia.
And as I said, the website is the best place to reach us. Mm-hmm. That's the number.
All right.
And thank you to Arthur Chappelle, who is just phenomenal. Is my new husband. I thank God for Arthur Chappelle. So I guess I'm going to start getting ready to start calling my name Sylvia Reed Chappelle. I'm working on it. I'm used to being single.
Well, congratulations.
So I want to shout out to my husband. He's phenomenal. He's such a support. And I thank God for him because of all the misery that we went through. And it's wonderful. One other thing, we are going to be honoring the West Hartford police officers from the West Hartford Police Domestic Violence Division on that day as well. So I'm letting you know we have a lot going on. We're going to be honoring Michael LaPointe, Officer Michael LaPointe. He's
I'm up against the clock, Sylvia.
Come on out. Just come on out, everybody. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, so we want y'all to go on out, support Sister Sylvia Reed in her endeavor, Gateway to Life. And so thank you. We will send me those flyers so I can get this on the air. So we can promote it a little bit more, okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
All right, God bless you.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. Stick and stay, folks. We will be right back, and we'll continue the conversation this morning. Coming up next, we've got another special guest for you. Stick and stay, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Morning Talk.
So my name is Nelky Maldonado.
My name is Ramon L. Arroyo.
And we know that Hartford Parent University provides good services and resources to parents in our communities, which are greatly needed because a lot of times our parents, they don't know where to go, how to get information, and being part of this program is essential to them in being successful in their children's education.
And I think that parents should get involved in their kids' education because it's very important. Education is, I always believe, is a success in life. If you got a good education, you can be very successful.
So we encourage our parents to please come join the program, ask lots of questions, and I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed.
Oh, yeah. It's Morning Talk. All right, that's my friend Sylvia Reed. Okay, we're back.
There's a lot.
She's doing a whole lot of stuff, huh?
That's a lot.
That's a lot packed into a little conference.
That's so much. I don't know how they're gonna pack it into a conference, but what I didn't get is the focus, the major.
I love Sylvia, but it seemed to have no focus.
Yeah, because that's an awful lot. That I was overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. I think it's wonderful, but I'm overwhelmed. One, how can you? So all of those things that Sylvia said they were going to do. Well, what's coming up first, and what's coming up second, and how many? Well, first, with all that, you got to have a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, I got lost.
Well, she forwarded a flyer. I haven't looked at the flyer yet, but we'll unpack that between now and the 12th.
Yeah,
a little bit, because there's a lot going on.
A lot.
Domestic violence is a very serious issue. One thing that kind of stood out in my mind, because her organization focuses a lot with men, it seems.
Yes, and I hope that that's the focus on that when they do that.
I think it will be,
because I think that would be the major focus. I would like it to be the major focus, because that is so not noticed, not in the courts, not through men. I've heard men say, I can't tell them because men don't go through this. I can't tell them. Well, yes, you can tell. Yes, you can go get help. It's sort of a shame thing. How could I, a man, be going through domestic violence when clearly they do go through domestic violence? And I don't think very many men would accept that or even say that they go through domestic violence. And they have the same kind of, you know how women always go back to the abuser so many times? Men do that same thing. They go back to the abuser and they abuse them again, and they go back to the abuser and they stand for it, and they lose all of their power, all of their self-power, all of their self-will. And it takes years probably to get your self-esteem back.
Well, it would seem that the key word here is domestic. And, we'll have to have her come back a little bit. I think we'll have her come back and have more of a conversation with her.
Yes.
Because, these are supposed to be people with whom one has a very deep affection, for in relationship with, because these are people who in theory and probably in practice who you love deeply. So, you don't want to think that this is something that's not going to last or it won't get better. And I think there's a lot to unpack in terms of the whys, the hows, and the intricacies of domestic violence. So we'll maybe we'll do a whole program on that. That'll be
that would be a wonderful program.
Yeah, that'd be a good program considering where we are in the stage of things these days. But now we're going to shift gears and talk about one of my favorite subjects, aviation. Because of course, those of you who know, I just love aviation, and my whole family's been in aviation for many, many years. So we're going to shift gears and we're going to visit the New England Air Museum. Well, we're not really going to go visit them. They're going to visit us. And we're going to talk a little bit about the New England Air Museum, some of the things that are going on up there, as well as a really neat event that's coming up. So with that, let's welcome our special guests to the program. We may as well start off with the number one, the captain of the ship, the commander, the right seat. I think it's the right seat, and the left seat, right seat. Stephanie Abrams is the president and CEO of the New England Air Museum, and welcome to the program. Good morning.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
It's good to have you. And joining us along with you is Rick Cleary. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you.
It's good to see. I like those planes over your shoulder there.
Oh, I picked the right spot.
Oh, yeah. Very good. Very good. So tell us a little bit about what's going on up at the New England Air Museum. Give us an executive summary synopsis of what the New England Air Museum is.
So the New England Air Museum is, I hate to say this, often referred to as Connecticut's best kept secret. We have a world-class collection of over 100 historic aircraft, and they are all completely renovated. I mean, they come in looking like they came from a junkyard, and they go into the museum looking like they just came off a production line. So we have military and civilian aircraft. And we also have exhibits. We have exhibits on New England women in aviation, which starts from the earliest aviators, up through the women who are creating the future of aerospace. Exhibits on the Kosciuszko Polish Squadron 303, who fought in the Battle of Britain. We also have some really wonderful aircraft simulators and the purpose of that so people can have the experience of flight, because we have a world-class collection. But it's one thing to look at these incredible aircraft, and it's another to learn about the stories behind the people who designed them and tested them and flew them and fought in them, and also to just give other people the experience of flight. So that's basically what we are.
All right. There we go. Now, for those who are watching, everybody's familiar with Zoom. So our guests join us by Zoom. Every once in a while, you have some issues where the size of the picture will get reduced, but not the quality of the content that we're talking about. So don't worry. Okay. Don't worry if the picture gets small or big. Just
I was
little technical
thinking
note.
I got very small.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't let that derail the conversation.
We have big aircraft.
Yeah. So, Rick, tell us a little bit about what you do at the New England Air Museum.
Certainly. So, as the Vice President of Development, I'm responsible for going out to fundraise and apply for grants to support our daily mission and to help fund future exhibits. So I am in the process of doing that for all of the activities ongoing at the museum.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty neat job to do, and must keep you very, very busy.
No pressure.
So your job is
no
to
pressure whatsoever.
help raise money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the development director is very, very necessary. Without the development director, there's no development, and there's no money, and things come to a grinding halt. The New England Air Museum, as Stephanie says, is like, I guess, Connecticut's best kept secret. But what is the attendance like? How do do schools come there? Do people come there? Tell us a little bit about how people wind up there.
Absolutely. I'll let Rick talk about how many students come through, but yes, we have on weekends, sometimes we are packed, but we have, Rick, how many school groups would you say we have now? Because we're coming out of COVID, so that is changing. And we're going from virtual back to the school buses rolling in.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 9 school districts. East Hartford, Torrington, Windsor Locks, Vernon, Westfield, Mass. So Torrington. So we've got a mix of schools around the area. About 5,000 students.
Yeah, and our attendance.
Almost 60,000.
Wow, that's fabulous.
And that's increasing. And that's increasing as people are, getting used to getting out and about again post-COVID. We have many, many programs. We have everything. Again, our demographic it's families, but it's children, but it's also adults. We just had a Halloween beer fest last Saturday night. The parking lot was completely full. So we have something for everyone. I, like you, grew up with aviation. My father was in the Air Corps. And just, grew up with a love of aircraft. But there's something for everyone. We take for granted, we at the museum, that everybody understands how aircraft fly. But a lot of people really don't. I mean, so we demystify flight and give people the experience of flight. But we're also using new technologies edging the horizon. We're using augmented reality to bring history to life, to bring the future to life. And again, simulators so people can actually experience flight. But we do have a world-class collection. We have a B-29 Super Fortress, which fills the entire hangar. And it's perfectly restored. Our restoration volunteers are insanely gifted and obsessed and passionate. So that aircraft is probably, I think, the best restored B-29 Super Fortress in the world. But every dial, everything inside is completely and totally restored.
Wow.
And I see that you're showing your wonderful website.
Yeah, I'm looking at your website. Fabulous. A flying boat?
We have a flying boat. It's one of my, so my favorites are the B-29 Super Fortress, the VS-44, which is actually a Sikorsky aircraft, takes off and lands in water. It was the first intercontinental aircraft. But then in World War II, the runways overseas were not long enough, so it was pressed into service because it didn't need the runway. But it's an incredible, and again, our restoration volunteers completely restored it to its heyday. It was in movies. Then also we have a control car. Rick is going to laugh because I love this aircraft. It's a control car to a blimp that was used in World War II. And when you look at it, people think that it's something out of the Minion movie because it kind of looks like the Minion aircraft. But it's the base of the blimp. And if the blimp were on top, it would fill the entire hangar of our civil hangar. But it's also completely restored. Everything inside is exactly as it was in World War II. And our restoration volunteers even created a model so that people can see the scale. It's fabricated and it looks exactly like the model. So you come visit.
I absolutely will come visit, which is I've driven past the Air Museum several times, but I've never actually gone. I've never gone in, which is a crime. My dad would kill me because he's been there several times. When he comes up here, he has to go to the New England Air Museum. And
come on in, because we'll put you in the F-18. We have an F-18 jet fighter, and it has afterburn. The seat shakes when you're in it. I haven't landed on the aircraft carrier yet, but I'm determined to do so.
Well, that should be a lot of fun. Now, the Tuskegee Airmen Exhibit Gala that's coming up in November. Tell us a little bit about that event.
Okay. If I can give you just a little bit of history first.
Mm-hmm.
So Lemuel Custis, who was one of the first Tuskegee, he's one of the first 5, the original 5 Tuskegee Airmen, was actually on our board of directors. And so is Bill Costin, who is very well known in our community. And he is a world-class balloonist. I think the first African-American balloonist, master pilot. Anyway, they were on the board together, and Bill, who has been documenting Black history, for decades, Lem said something about the Tuskegee Airmen, and Bill said, who was a Buffalo Bill football player, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Lem said, or Bill said to Lem, "Who are the Tuskegee Airmen?" And Lem punched him in the stomach, which took a lot of courage since Bill was a football player, and said, "What do you mean you don't know who the Tuskegee Airmen were?" And so this started a lifelong historic journey for Bill. And so Bill was kind of the genesis of this. And the fundraiser that we are having is to support the airmen. I think I come from New York City, and I'm convinced if you stand on a street corner and just stop people and say, "Who are the Tuskegee Airmen?" They kind of know, but they're not really sure. And we need to tell their story. We feel a huge responsibility to tell their story. I mean, we'll get into it a bit more, but they changed the world, literally changed the world. And I think that if we keep their story and legacy alive, they will continue to do so. And we can talk more, specifically about what they do. The incredible event that we have coming up on November 19th is there are very few Tuskegee Airmen left. We just lost 2 last month. We actually are having 3 Tuskegee Airmen coming to the museum on November 19th. It's called An Evening with Tuskegee Airmen, and it's a fundraiser for our exhibit. It is by far the most aggressive and expensive exhibit that we've put together. No pressure, Rick. So we're fundraising, and these airmen are incredible. One's 96, one's 97, one's 98. And I've been speaking with them. I just spoke with one last night who was in the 330. 2 of them were in the 336, which were the fighter pilots. They are sharp. Their memory is better than mine. They tease me. They're funny. And they haven't seen each other in 70 years. It was just, when we started putting this together, I didn't think about that. And then one of them called me, one who's coming from Boston, and said, "I just saw that you have Harry Stewart coming." And I said, "Yes." He said, "Harry and I used to fly together. I did payroll, and he flew me to the bases to deliver the payroll and have all these shenanigans and stories together." And then another who is coming was also in the 332nd, flew battle with Harry. And they're so excited to see one another. And it's going to be an incredible evening. Their stories are amazing, and they all have very different experiences to share.
Wow.
And I think you're showing the microsite that we created, which also has a video. The exhibit itself, since there are so few Tuskegee Airmen, we thought, well, there are a lot of Tuskegee exhibits around the country. What can we do that's different? So we started researching and finding the children, the grandchildren, the friends of the airmen who lived this life with them. And we've been interviewing them about their fathers, their grandfathers, their friends' experience during the war and post-war. One thing I think most people have heard, if they do know about Tuskegee Airmen, the double victory was victory overseas, but also victory in, fighting and changing racism and segregation back here. But they fought 2 wars, and we're anxious for people to learn their story and understand that they fought 2 wars. They fought with the Allies to protect our freedom, but they also fought segregation and racism, and yet had fought with focus and determination and profound skill with everything they did and achieved. Sorry, I didn't let you have a word there.
Oh no! I was looking at my co-host. I thought she went. I thought she had a question.
Writing down the information and saying my grandchildren. I have got to bring my grandchildren here to see this. And you said November 19th?
Yes, it's
November
Saturday.
19th.
Yep, Saturday, November 19th. It starts at 5:30 with a cocktail hour reception, and then around 6:45 to 7 o'clock we'll start bringing everybody into our military hangar where the 3 airmen will be on stage. And we have Leslie Mays, who's going to MC the event and get them talking.
I've always had in my bookstore a picture as people walked up the stairs. I had lots of pictures, and I had a picture. My mother-in-law had an old picture of the Tuskegee Airmen, and so she gave me a copy of it, and it was always up on my wall, and I loved that. I love that picture. So I am excited about this event that you're gonna have. This is I've always wanted to do something with that. I've never done it, but I've always wanted to learn more about them.
Their stories are so rich, and I have to tell you, I hail from television. I did decades of documentaries and television shows, but I've also been in the aerospace business. This is kind of a crossroads for me. But interviewing, so I conducted the interviews with the production crew I've worked with for a long time, but their stories are poignant, they're heartbreaking, they're inspirational. I mean, they were remarkable before they got in, and the way that they had to fight to get in. And then the focus and determination with they fought, and then what they went through post-war when they came back. They're incredible stories. And the three of them are very different. Lieutenant Colonel Woody Woodhouse lives in Boston. And he actually, when he got there, and he's one of our speakers, when he got there, he was too young to fight. So they made him a paymaster, which was basically the one who did payroll. Harry Stewart, fought. He was actually one of the, the Top Gun movies that we all talk about. Well, the origin of Top Gun was an Air Force competition in 1949. And the Tuskegee Airmen, and Harry Stewart was one of them. They were flying inferior aircraft against some of the white groups who were competing in much more sophisticated aircraft, and they won. So Harry is one of the Top Gun winners, which gives you a sense of the skill with which he flew. But he also wanted one of his distinguished crosses is because he shot down 3 enemy aircraft in one day. But his record is incredible. I mean, he flew, I think it was over 400 missions. And then George Hardy, his story is very different. And a lot of the airmen are reluctant to talk about the racism that they faced. George Hardy is very outspoken about it. He actually, he's very light-skinned. He told me, I talked to him last night, and he said, I could pass for white, I just prefer not to. But he would often go into the restaurants and get food and bring it out to the other airmen. I'm so passionate about this because you could tell that they were officers, and they were often not allowed into the officers' clubs. Anyway, George is also extremely decorated. He was in the 332nd. He fought in combat, but he is very outspoken and committed, even at 97, to traveling the country and talking about this. And again, their legacy, keeping their legacy alive. By learning about your past, you can create a better future, and that's very much what they believe. So please bring your grandchildren.
I have a question. It was back in the 1940s or whenever they learned, maybe in the 30s. How they learn how to fly a plane? Were they in the service or all of those men? How did they even accept them into anywhere?
Okay, great question. I love this. So Cornelius Coffey is one of a couple of African-American men who wanted to fly. So he actually got into a flight academy. And then when he showed up, because he had great grades and he had some college, but he showed up and they said, oh, this is not for you. So he built his own aircraft and taught himself how to fly.
Wow.
It just astonishes me. And then he also, Willow Brown was one of the very few, not just female pilots, but Black pilots. So they wound up getting married, even though they got divorced later. But anyway, so they had a school and they taught many of the Tuskegee Airmen how to fly. But there are a couple of other people as well. Albert Anderson, who also, there's a famous picture of him with flying Eleanor Roosevelt, which is another great story. He built his own aircraft and he taught himself to fly. As I said earlier, these men were remarkable to begin with. And then after the training and being trained to fly the aircraft that ultimately they would go to war in, in the video that we have on our website, there's a lot of historic footage. They flew with incredible skill. But yes, many of them started out teaching themselves how to fly. Building their own aircraft is incredible to me. But they did. And
they accepted them into the service as pilots. See, that's incredible to me. They even gave them a chance to fly. You know,
another great question. Okay, so also to get into the service, so the Army Air Corps, my dad was in the Army Air Corps as well, was segregated at that time, and few African Americans were permitted to come in. But you could apply, and you either had to knew how to fly, or you had to pass some pretty tough tests, and they were the same tests that. Again, the Air Corps was very prestigious. So the tests that the African American men who wanted to fly took was the same as the tests that the whites had to take. Anyway, so those who were accepted were trained first on a Stearman P-17, which we actually have one. It was on loan, but we really wanted to own this aircraft as part of the exhibit, so we have that. And then after they trained on the P-17, this is in Tuskegee, Alabama. Then on Moton Field in Tuskegee, they started training in P-40 Warthogs, and again then went into combat training. So by the time they were deployed, they were expert fighter pilots.
And how did the public, right, they were experts, how did the public even find out about the Tuskegee airmen? I mean, I'm not thinking they put it on the news, the 6 o'clock news that these black men were flying, you know. So how did that even get out, or people got to know that they even, probably in the black community, they would probably know something in some places, but not most of us would probably not even know that they existed. That's why when I found out about them, I was just so excited. I just thought I knew them. I just loved every last one of them, you know. But I wondered how did they, because there's so many secrets, so many in America, and the abilities and the accomplishment of black people. How did this get into the public?
Another great question and another great story. So first of all, there was black press and white press. And yes, white press was definitely not covering the Tuskegee Airmen. However, Eleanor Roosevelt, who was incredible in so many ways,
wonderful woman.
Went to Pardon?
I said she was a wonderful woman. I love reading about it.
She's done. It's like the more you read, the more you find out about her. Anyhow, she knew about the Tuskegee Airmen, and it wasn't moving along as quickly as she wanted it to. So she went there, and she was at Moton Field, and she said, "I want to fly with someone." And remarkably, it's just an ironic story, she wound up flying with Alfred Anderson, who was the self-taught person who built his own aircraft. But there were photographs, and if you can pull up our website again, there's a photograph where it says their stories. There's 3 women. She flew with him, and she got tons of press. If you go to the top, if you see where it says their stories, and then you scroll down, and you'll see the 3 women who were very important in getting the story out. Anyway, so there was tons of press and great photographs of Eleanor Roosevelt in this aircraft. And then she went home and she told her husband that he had to desegregate and to get these pilots fighting.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. I'm excited about the event that you're having. I hope tons of people go and hear the stories. I'm definitely going to be there to hear these stories.
Now, one of our viewers asks, she just, you mentioned bring the grandchildren, so I'm sure this is a family-friendly event. But one viewer wanted to know: is it going to be a family? She says, is it going to be a family-friendly event? They stated cocktail hour, so.
Oh yeah,
that was her question.
Yes, you can absolutely. And we're also have a special funding to get high school students into for a different price, which I'll let Rick talk about. But yes, they're welcome because anybody who walks up to the bar has to have identification. So no one will be served alcohol who does not have ID.
Yeah, so the obviously the museum is going to be open and available to all guests. And it is just an hour. We will have part of our exhibit built and running. A feature in our exhibit is going to be, as you first walk into it, a small little theater. And that theater will run a video that will introduce our visitors to the Tuskegee Airmen. That is going to be up and functioning for November 19th and be able to show a few things. Our website, we have tickets run $125 a person, but also we allow people, if they wish, they can donate for $100. We will bring a high school student from Hartford. Pratt Whitney yesterday notified me that they are donating 27 tickets for students at Hartford Public. So we're going to see a number of high school students invited. And so it's open to everybody. And we know that after the event is over, Woody Woodhouse said he's there as long as people want to talk to him and take pictures. So even though it may end at 8:30, he's going to be there till the last person's satisfied.
That's great.
And he will have posters. He's a character. He's an absolute character. And one thing I wanted to say is, in addition to, I mean, it would have been incredible enough to just have three surviving Tuskegee Airmen there, but they haven't seen each other in 70 years. I cannot begin to tell you how excited they are. It's going to be an amazing reunion. And also, one thing I wanted to circle back on in terms of your last question on how people knew about them. Eleanor Roosevelt got a lot of attention, obviously, and she continued to publicize, but also Mary McLeod Bethune was a presidential advisor. For a woman of color to be a presidential advisor in the 1940s was pretty remarkable, but she also had an enormous influence over making this happen. Again, if you go to the top and click on their stories, you can scroll down to the three women.
All right. I just don't see it. Their stories.
Across the top. Let's see. Are you on the microsite?
I'm on the microsite.
He's on our website.
Oh, okay. If you can go to TuskegeeNeem.org.
Oh, okay. Let's do that off air. Well, not off the air, but you know. Right. I'll let you guys continue talking while I look that up.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is, as a part of this, we're also involved in trying to educate more people about what the Tuskegee Airmen are all about. So we've contracted with the Commemorative Air Force, and they are bringing up a red-tailed P-51 Mustang, which the Tuskegee Airmen flew on many of their bomber escort missions, and also bringing up a mobile theater. So that is going to be here the week of November 1st. And what we've got scheduled is on November 2nd, the mobile theater is going to be at Martin Luther King Middle School for the day. And many of the students at Martin Luther King will be able to go out and see a 30-minute video all about the Tuskegee Airmen. So it's a great educational opportunity. And unfortunately, it takes a day to set up and a day to tear down. So after that, the theater will be coming up to the museum and will be on site for the Friday and Saturday, November 4th and 5th. The P-51 Mustang will be flying in on the 2nd and will be housed right across the street from the museum for the rest of the week. and people will be able to come up to the museum, and we'll take them across the street to the hangar, and they'll be able to see and get pictures with the aircraft. So it's a great educational opportunity that we're bringing as well.
Well, it sounds like a fabulous opportunity. I'm rolling the logistics around in my mind to whether or not I think we might want to come up and cover a little of this, but I have to see what the schedule's like. But yeah, this sounds like a wonderful event. November the 19th.
November 19th.
Yeah, the other thing that I'd like to bring up as well is the exhibit is under construction. The footprint is there. It's in the B-29 hangar where the P-17 Stearman is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be incredible. But it also will have a theater when you come in. And the theater will be available on November 19th. And it will play the video that is on that microsite that I just directed you to. But the theater just introduces you to, who they were, what they did. What do you mean they fought 2 wars? And you hear directly from the children and the families of the airmen in that video.
All right.
So one of the things that we did to get this ball rolling is we formed a steering committee. And Earl Exum, who is a vice president at Pratt Whitney and is the president of International Aero Engines AG, is the head of our steering committee. And Earl has been doing a great job whenever he's out in public talking about the museum and the exhibit. In addition, Denise Napier, former Connecticut State Treasurer, who is the daughter and a niece of Tuskegee Airmen, has agreed to be on and is on our steering committee. And she's helping us meet other Tuskegee children. They have a really great bond. And when you get out there, they spread the word, and everyone we talk to is very open and willing to talk. And we're trying to set up a number of interviews. So we have Denise Napier on, and Gordon Smith, who is a Chase Bank executive out of New York City. He is the son of a Tuskegee Airman, is also on our steering committee. So we've brought some great expertise. And then, of course, Bill Costin, who, as you know, I believe you guys know him.
Oh, yes, very well.
And is a member of the museum board of directors. So he's been very helpful in giving us additional contacts. So it's been great getting to know these people and listening to, as Stephanie said, to their wonderful stories. We say wonderful stories. Back in the time, there were very painful stories. And we hope that through this exhibit, people will be able to experience and understand what they went through and be able to, as Stephanie goes, walk in their shoes, to come out of this exhibit and understand the circumstances and the things that these men were able to accomplish. Not only their battle legacy, which was fantastic, but changes that they made to American society. And we talk about an event called the Freeman Mutiny, which took place in Freeman, Indiana, when 69 Tuskegee Airmen wanted to go to a club. Now, there were 2 clubs on the base. One was for them and one was for the whites. And theirs was run down and very poor condition. So they decided they were going to the white club. And when they got to the club, they were denied entrance, and things got a little heated, and eventually they got arrested. And this turned into such a big event with the base commander, who was very racist, wanted all of the Tuskegee Airmen on the base, there were 101 of them, to sign a document that they believed in the Jim Crow laws, and they all refused. Just a very small handful signed. And the publicity behind this resulted in President Truman signing a letter telling the armed services they were going to desegregate. And that is what created the change in the military. And it also formed the basis for the civil rights movement that would take place years later, that peaceful, nonviolent demonstration can result in big change. And those are some themes that we will bring up in the exhibit. So it's not just about the numbers, the number of medals, planes shot down. It's really about the historical changes that took place that are really expand and really need to be told over and over again.
All right.
Absolutely. And if I could just add to that, I mean, some of the things that were shocking to me, and again, I come from a world where I made documentaries and television shows. When I started researching, I came across the Army War College did a study in 1925, finding that people of color were not capable of theoretical training and were not capable of flying. I mean, it's astonishing the things that you come up with. And knowing this, the airmen still pushed forward and got themselves into training and fought with incredible talent and perseverance. So I agree. Well said, Rick, that this is not just about their accomplishments, but it's the full story. And that's why when I say that by keeping their legacy alive, they continue to change the world. So many people don't know this story and don't know what they went through and don't know how that peaceful demonstration at the field that Rick just talked about. I mean, they were officers. They had a right to go into any officers club, and how that set the basis for the movement in the 60s. I mean, there's so much they accomplished, and they continue to. There are now Red Tail Academies nationally, which are getting young people into aviation.
Okay. November the 19th is the date, and it is family friendly, and absolutely positively something you all should look into. I think... What are you doing on the 19th?
I'm going to this air show.
You want to report?
Do I want to report?
Mm-hmm. You want be in front of the camera with a mic?
Oh, I would love that. I would love that.
All right. People go to events here, and then they wind up working. I don't know. I want to make you, work you all evening.
That would be great. I would. She's saying people don't realize and don't know the story.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see the pictures, if you're a person of color, you already know the story.
Mm.
Instinctively, you know the story, and you sit and you can feel the accomplishments that they made. They went through hell to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there. The picture and what it is says everything. So it's wonderful to hear the stories.
Well,
but internally, you know the stories.
Right.
If you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Internally, you know the stories, and I'm thinking as she's talking, as this sixth grader says to her sixth grade teacher, "But Miss Barson, is George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington the only black people, or we said Negroes in those days, did anything? You mean we never did anything? We've been in this country as long as you. We never did anything." And the woman stood there, said nothing, just looked at me. And she stood there, she looked at me for so long and said nothing. I just turned around and went out to recess, and then you start hearing the stories. Maybe in some parts of the country they taught it, but in Hartford, Connecticut, at Northwest Jones, all I knew was we were slaves. We were slaves, and they thought we were 3/5 of a human being. How does that makes a child feel horrible?
Mm-hmm.
And there were no black people on TV, except Stu Earle and Charlie, and how what was his name? I forgot. But and then you see this picture, I just want you to imagine. You see this picture of black airmen. Black airmen. You get ecstatic. You get so happy, but you don't know the story.
Mm-hmm.
But you do know the story.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew they must have, and so you love the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to just sort of, I don't know, clarify. I just wanted to say that. That is an internal story for so many people.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm so glad that you brought that up. The families that came with the folks that we interviewed, first of all, they all said thank you for telling the story, because I hear what you're saying and we want to change that. We also did a video called Wings of Change for Pratt and Whitney last February to celebrate Black History Month, and it was basically not just Tuskegee Airmen, it was Black aviators. I mean, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And to tell the stories of all of these incredible African American aviators, from the early days when some of these folks were building their own aircraft. But we're also going to have in the bookstore, I found a children's book about the Freeman Field photograph, because this is a very important and difficult story to tell children, but it's very important to tell them.
For folks that want to get in touch, how can they do so, and where do they get get tickets and information?
So we have two places where I would direct you. One is to our website, which is www.neem.org, Neem like New England Air Museum. The other is we created what we call, a microsite, which is all about the exhibit. It has the video, which I would encourage people to watch, because it touches on what we were just discussing of what happened post-war and knowing internally what they went through, even though these folks didn't directly. But anyway, so that is www.tuskegeeneem.org, Tuskegee and then NEAM, like New England Air Museum.org. And you can purchase tickets directly on our website.
All right. Fabulous. Okay, well, more information to follow in the upcoming weeks as we lead up to November the 19th. Great opportunity for those of you here in the listening area to attend a wonderful event. We will be there. We'll do some coverage, and so that should be a lot of fun. It's been a long time since I went out and did a glamorous event. Cover a glamorous event. The 19th. The 19th of November.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll do that. That'll be fun, huh?
Wonderful. We're excited to see you.
Will be fun, yeah. We'll have lots of fun. And okay, well, thanks for taking time out of your schedule to our two guests, Stephanie Abrams, and she is the president and CEO of the New England Air Museum, and of course Rick Cleary, senior vice president or vice president of development. I gave you a raise. There you go, senior vice president. That means you have vice presidents under you, right? All right, thanks,
hey,
guys.
If he could raise the money, we could give him the raise.
There you go. Your task is to raise enough money for an assistant. All right. Well, it's good to see you guys. Thanks for dropping by, and I'm sure we will be talking to you very, very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having us. It was a pleasure.
Good to see you guys.
Take care.
All righty.
You.
All right there, Miss Cleo. Let's take a short break, and then we will be right back. Drop in and see a little bit of Jay Hogarth. All right. Stick and stay. Okay, Jay Hogart. Yeah. Great stuff. All right, so I'm looking forward to this event.
Yes, I am also.
There we go. Yeah, pull your mic up. There we go. Should be lots of fun.
So, which means I'll probably meet the Tuskegee Airmen in person.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. And I think
wonderful.
that we'll, so we can go to this event. We'll cover it. We'll make a commitment to cover the event. She made mention of a film. We have time. It's 9 minutes. So why don't we show the film?
Okay.
And watch this. And it should be pretty good. So stick and stay. Don't go anywhere. Let's jump in.
You found it, right?
I found it.
Oh.
I found it during the break.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's a misconception that you can multitask. You can only actually do one thing at a time. Multitasking is a fable. You really can't do more than one thing at a time. You can do a whole lot of things back to back, but it's at some point you're doing too many things, and it's hard to. Right. So here we go.
I thought you were good. Okay. Tuskegee Airmen.
Tuskegee Airmen. Their untold story.
Others recognize a war hero. Hi, I'm Earl Exum, President, International Aero Engines AG at Pratt & Whitney. I'm standing in front of an aircraft flown by the famous Tuskegee Airmen. These pilots earned more than 850 medals, including the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor. Yet, while achieving excellence while defending our country, they fought two wars, one against America's enemy and one against racism and injustice. Join me and the New England Air Museum in bringing the individual stories of the Tuskegee Airmen to life in a standing exhibit. The Tuskegee Airmen, Their Untold Stories.
What we are taught and what we see in the public isn't always in earnest what the truth is.
If I was not doing this interview, you wouldn't know the greatness that was in my father.
The truth about the airmen is that they are American heroes.
The original Tuskegee Airmen were escorts. They were out there protecting and helping the bombers and making sure that they were getting to the place they needed to be and helping to get them home safe. And that was something that was really, really an important part of their leadership.
No, it was never easy for these men. They were pioneers, and no pioneer has it easy. But many hoped they'd get the chance to fly and fight in the air. Some wanted that chance more than anything in the world.
Yesterday, I fulfilled one of my ambitions as a combat pilot. I got one airplane.
My father realized to join the Air Force that there had never been African Americans in the Air Force that had really been ever able to fly.
Because of what they look like, the color of their skin, they were not viewed as being capable.
They always believed that they had to go above and beyond, and that good was never good enough. They had to be excellent.
He knew the way to achieve was to work extra hard, work twice as hard as everybody else, and then you would have a chance for success.
They fought lies. They fought heartbreak. And they won.
They were fearless.
They defied the odds. They showed that it was possible.
The Tuskegee Airmen were not only extremely skilled. I mean, these are people who had great hand-eye coordination. They were truly gifted fighter pilots, and they knew what they were doing because they had overcome so much to be able to get there. They weren't often allowed to go into the officers' mess and to be able to have the equal opportunities that the white pilots had once they were overseas. And it's just something that never really didn't make any sense to my father. He didn't understand it and didn't trust that he would be treated fairly by white America, even after the war, even after he'd sacrificed so much for his country.
I remember George Hardy, he told me that they couldn't even go in some of the restaurants. He was very light-skinned, so they would send him in to order all the food, and then he would order the food and bring it out.
It broke my heart to find out that a lot of them felt like the treatment they got over in Europe was leaps and bounds better than the treatment that they got back home.
When my dad came home from the Air Force, he had his mind set on going to the University of Chicago Law School. And when he showed up, they rejected him. And it was because they really didn't want African Americans in the law school at that time in history. But the next day he showed up in his captain's uniform and convinced them to give him a test. And his dream came true. They accepted him and he was able to go to the best law school in the country at the time.
My dad wanted to be an airplane pilot more than anything in the whole wide world. He wanted to fly. And he applied to one of the big airlines, I'm not gonna say which one, and he got a letter in black and white that I actually saw that said, "We do not accept Negroes no matter how many hours they have."
There probably would have been that same reaction if people were to board a plane and see a black pilot. Oh no. Oh no.
And in the 50s and 60s, there were no black pilots, even though many of them had been trained in the military and the Air Force. So he never flew.
I am Bill Costin. I was a good friend of Lemuel Custis, one of the Tuskegee Airmen. He introduced himself as a Tuskegee Airman. I said, "What's a Tuskegee Airman?" And he hit me in the stomach. So what do you mean, what's a Tuskegee Airman? And I didn't know. I had no idea what a Tuskegee Airman was. We became friends.
I would like for you to see young men who grew up and made a difference because they were willing to take a risk. And because they took that risk, they provided opportunities not only for themselves and each other, but for their families and their children.
The focus that they needed to be able to not only go through the most intense pilot training program that is out there, but to do it in a segregated environment. And for us to be here now, standing on the backs of all those giants and all the work that they've done, it's incredible. It was no longer surprising to see someone that looked like me go through training or become a pilot because of all that they did.
By highlighting these extraordinary accomplishments by these African-American success stories and giants of World War II really helps to reinforce not only the unfairness they faced, but the talent that's there when given a chance. Excellence will shine through.
The Tuskegee Airmen did have to fight in order to serve, and that service was fighting for the country, but it's still going on to some extent nowadays, where as a people we have to be better, we have to be exceptional in order to sometimes just be accepted.
So we need to keep reminding the broader citizenry of our country, they have to have their eyes and ears open for the current discrimination that is still there.
A lot of museums have statistics and everything, but we are really concentrating on telling the stories of the Tuskegee Airmen.
As a military pilot, their presence and their story inspired me every single day. There was not a moment that I went by when I put this uniform on as a military aviator that I don't think about their story and think about how I would not be here if it was not for them. And to let them know that they paved the way for individuals like me to be able to continue a career in military aviation. And I just hope that I can continue to be an example of everything that they did and to continue to share their story.
Contributing to this project, I think is important because you don't really have the opportunity to go purposefully into your future unless you understand where it is that you came from. So please join us, help us by making this exhibit a reality.
I'm Claudia Ann Highball. I am the daughter of Richard Highball and the niece of Earl Burton Highball, both of whom were Tuskegee Airmen.
My name is John W. Rogers, Jr. I am the son of Tuskegee Airman John W. Rogers.
My name is Leslie Radcliffe, and I am the daughter of Lloyd Leslie Radcliffe, Tuskegee Airman.
Pretty powerful.
Yes.
And so this event is November the 19th up at the New England Air Museum. So we will cover this. Sounds good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Okay. I think I've got my act together here. There's too many buttons and stuff over here. As my wife tells me, too many buttons. But yeah. All right, I'm looking forward to this.
Yes. So am I.
I'm looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. All right. Okay, folks. Well, that just about wraps us up.
Well, it was a fun show today. No stomach ache.
No stomach ache. Fun
yes,
show.
Yes. Yes.
All right. That's how we want it. Fun. A little bit of something light. You know, and everything's so heavy and oppressive, you know. So we try to keep it light on Friday. And so next Friday we should have some special guests as well. Talk about some other uplifting things going on in the community. All right. Because despite everything, despite it all, everything in Hartford is not bad.
Good things are happening.
Good things are happening all the time. And, you know, if all you look for is misery and gloom and doom, then that's all you'll find.
That's all you'll find.
That's all you'll find. And I think a lot of people just looking for misery.
That's right.
They look for misery.
They ask you, why are you smiling? There ain't nothing to smile about.
Right.
I said, oh, well, hey, where'd you get that smile?
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's just there. God gave it to me. I don't know.
Amen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. Well, my friends, that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the 19th, and then of course Sylvia Reed's event is on the 12th.
Yes.
Okay, that should be an interesting event. I would encourage everybody to.
That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
How many of those topics? How many of those programs are they going to fit in a day?
I don't know. Maybe there's, breakout. I don't know what the structure of the event is. So if they have breakout rooms and things like that,
Maybe what you're interested in, you'd go into that room or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She sent a flyer. Let me take a look at the flyer. Yeah, this is okay. All right. Yeah, Uptown Vibes. All right. Yeah, we'll yeah, so. All right, cool.
Okay, Stan.
All hearts, all minds. What is it? All minds.
Minds think alike.
All great minds do think alike. But all hearts settled, all minds cleared.
Oh.
I think that's the saying, right? So there we go. All right, my friends, our time together has come to an end, unfortunately. So we will see you next time. You all have a great weekend, Cleo.
Thank you. You too. You too. I plan on having a great weekend.
Have a great week. Did you make it down to the Flying Monkey yet?
Oh yes, I did.
How
a couple
was
of
it?
weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. There, it was so crowded.
Wow.
And some people did make reservations.
Mm-hmm.
So, I went with a person who was a little disabled.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a little VIP service.
Oh, nice.
Yes, but most people came in. There was no seats available. They went to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
But we waited for a seat. They made a way for us, and they put these tables in. But it was so crowded you could hardly move.
Wow.
The music was good, but it wasn't jazz.
Oh,
It wasn't jazz.
okay.
So, but it was good, and we enjoyed ourselves. And their food was pretty good, and plenty of it. You had to take it home. You had to take some home. So yeah.
All right. Well, I still haven't gotten down there. I gotta get down to the Flying Monkey. I'm gonna go down there when one of my jazz buddies are performing.
And a nice staff.
Good staff?
To be so busy, and they were very, very pleasant staff.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna take my wife down there. We'll go down and do some jazz. All right, my friends. Our time together has come to an end. We'll see you next time. You all have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I do business as Light Source Productions. I provide professional services in the area of strategic video communications. First, what we do is we help you craft your message using what I call the rule of the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. We do event documentation, content acquisition, full-scale productions, editing, and of course distribution through our social media television network. And with social media, video is more important now than it has ever been. Whether you're talking big business, small business, nonprofit, church, or just an individual. Let's say you plan you're planning an event, a wedding, whatever the case may be. But let's say a big event, but no video. And you spent all this time, all these hours to put this event on, and maybe 100, 200 people attend the event. But more important than that is that thousands could attend by watching it on social media. But of course, you don't think about this until after the event is over. You can't afford not to capture it for social media. And despite what people think, I am affordable. give me a call. Let's plan your next video project and share it with the world on my social media television network. I promise you that you will have the attention of one person, me.